Hi, I'm Shaul. When the first digital SLRs were introduced to the market in the early 2000s, there were only film SLRs where the sensitive medium was replaced. So they used the same optics as film SLRs. Those optics were available already on the market, and size of the sensors was typically the problem of angular light coming at the back of the optics was avoided. Before that, let me go back a bit. A film is a flat medium, so the angle of light hitting it is not so important. It's not very sensitive to angular light. Light is still effective. However, with digital sensors, the issue is that the light has to pass through a well to reach the photosite, which was slightly buried inside the silicon layer. And in order for the light to be effective, it has to hit the sensor surface in a perpendicular angle. Now, this is not a problem in light coming through the center of the lens, but it is a problem with light coming from the periphery of the falls on the sensor in an acute angle. But as I said, at the early stages of the digital era, this was not an issue because the sensors were typically smaller in size than the 35 millimeter film. In the second half of the 2000s, between 2005 and 2008, manufacturers started using larger sensors, full frame or 35 millimeter sensors. And the problem of angular light became more obvious. Back then, a lot of attention was given to corner sharpness, to vignetting, and as a result, manufacturers had to replace their optics, and that typically happened with a few iterations. The professional zooms, for example, the 24 to 70 millimeter lenses went through 2 or 3 iterations until they reached the proper design that those sensors required. Also, the best prime lenses were introduced in those years, in the around 2010 to 2012. By 2013, I think, a second development occurred, which was a sharp increase of sensor resolution. It typically increased from anywhere between 12 and 20 megapixels to 36 to 50 megapixels. Consumers realized that the lenses available were not sharp enough, or they could not resolve the whole potential of the sensors. Another gap occurred. You can probably already see the guideline of this story. Lenses, optical design kept chasing the innovation in sensor technology. But lens design is a lot slower. So in the mid-teens of the 21st century, there was an opportunity created in the market for high resolving power optics. And first Zeiss, then quickly afterwards Sigma, mainly Sigma, but also Tamron jumped on this opportunity and started releasing lenses with very high content of extra low dispersion glass. Of course, those new lenses were abominations. They were massive. But the market did not really pay attention to that. The most important thing in a lens back then was its resolving power. There was a famous website that published the perceived resolution of lenses, and those new designs were very successful by the technical measurements of this site. However, images from these lenses were very flat in nature. There was no dimensionality to the images, no 3D pop. By the late teens, full-frame mirrorless systems were introduced, and much more attention was paid to the size of the optics. Mirrorless offers the opportunity of smaller, more usable cameras, and the lenses designed for them in the beginning were ridiculous. They were much too big. You must understand that what determines the size of an optic is the size of the sensor, not the size of the camera. So you got small cameras with large optics, which were uncomfortable to hold, uncomfortable to use, and the market encouraged manufacturers to decrease the size of the lenses. The market also started paying attention to the rendering of the image. That was due to the revival of film and renewed interest in small rangefinder systems, mainly due to the Leica M system, which somehow gained popularity. 3D pop became an issue. The heyday of extra low dispersion glass was quickly over. Sigma was always took pride of using a lot of extra low dispersion glass. It started back in the 1980s. They were the first company to commercially use such glass in its telephoto lenses, some of them. This glass type is quite expensive and exotic. So it gave Sigma some prestige. Now, by the mid-teens of the 21st century, Sigma came out with the art series of lenses, which used a lot, over 25% of extra low dispersion glass types. For example, I looked at the design of the latest lens, which is a 50mm f1.2, and I was quite surprised to see that it contains no extra low dispersion glass whatsoever, which is unthinkable for Sigma. More than that, manufacturers started advertising the use of high refractive index glass, which was never heard of, or almost never heard of before. You see, this type of dense glass used to contain lead, and lead is considered a hazard, and it's a heavy metal, and you don't want any lead near your bloodstream. It's a horrible poison. So lead was banned in the production processes of glass many years ago. High refractive index glass types were developed containing other substances, but it was a taboo. No one mentioned using high refractive index glass in their lenses. And in the past 2 years, they started putting the use of such glass back in the advertising material. So having a look at the designs of recently announced lenses by Chinese manufacturers and looking at sample images, I'm quite optimistic because 3D pop is clearly back. Look at lenses like 7 Artisans 50 millimeters f1.8 or Viltrox 40 millimeters f2.5, which are lenses that were just introduced a week or two ago, and you can clearly see that those are nice poppy lenses, and I hope that they gain the popularity they deserve. There is nothing exotic about high refractive index glass. It's a common glass, widely used. So it's not only that more poppy lenses appear on the market, there are also some of the cheapest lenses available. Not only lenses made by Chinese manufacturers, but also by mainstream manufacturers, like one of the best poppy lenses Nikon makes is currently the 40 millimeters f2, which is a non-expensive lens. It's the cheapest lens in the lineup. So I believe the future is bright. There was one exception to this story, which was a company that does not produce cameras or lenses anymore, sadly. So I can praise it freely here. It was Olympus. Olympus was always a renowned manufacturer of lenses. Its optical designs were always small but very high quality. And in the beginning of the digital era, Olympus, Panasonic and Sigma, and Leica in a way, created a consortium, FourThirds, camera system that was designed from scratch for digital. It had a smaller sensor than the usual APS-C that all other manufacturers used, But this type of sensor, mainly because its aspect ratio, which was less elongated, was closer to a square, enabled making lenses with a telecentric design. A near perpendicular angle of light coming from the rear. Lenses such as this one, it's the 11 to 22 f2.8 to f3.5 zoom, were consistently produced in the first part of the 2000s, and they were exquisite, really. Some of the best lenses I've ever used. You might not believe me, but the images produced by those lenses remind me of medium format systems. Have a look for yourselves. The FourThirds system was sadly not very long-lived. First camera produced was in 2003, and the last one was produced in 2010. And it was replaced by micro FourThirds, which was the first fully fledged mirrorless system. Now, the selling point of micro FourThirds was the small size of the lenses, mainly, and only the top end glass retained its this special high quality. The rest of the glass was pretty average. One interesting thing about Olympus, it never shied away of detailing the types of glass they used in the lenses. For example, look at the published design of the 25mm f1.2, which was a top-end prime for micro FourThirds. Eventually I decided to move on and stopped using the FourThirds and micro FourThirds system. In the next video I will explain the reasons for that. So until then, thank you for watching and goodbye.